Welcome, Loyalty Squad. This is the Velvet Locks coming back to you with another story time video. It has been, I don't know how long since I did a story time, but I got a doozy for you. Okay? So grab yourself a little snack, get yourself a little drinky drink, and come and join me to hear about my crazy, wild dating chronicles. Okay, this happened about, I would say, about 2 years ago. Now, you know your girl is single. Okay, just because I'm of a certain age don't mean that I am too old to meet somebody. But I tried the dating scene. Now, I've tried the online dating scene a few times, and yeah, okay, well, there's not a whole lot of pickings on there. And if there is, and you've met somebody online and you're doing wonderful in your relationship, kudos to you. Okay, this happened about 2 years ago, and I met this gentleman. I don't even know if I could call him that. I think that would be like an understatement, giving him too much credit, because he was far from being a gentleman. So I met this dude online. We spoke, we conversated, and this went on for maybe like about a couple of weeks. Because you know, with your girl right here, I ain't trying to just talk to you for a few seconds and then meet up with you. No, I gotta feel the vibes. I gotta get a vibe from you. I gotta see if it's okay, if it's safe, you know, to even come near you. All right? But sometimes when you're trying to meet somebody, you kind of give too much of the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, okay? If you're trying to meet somebody and you see some red flags from jump, don't even bother wasting your time. Well, your girl wasted her doggone time, because although he seemed okay from the pictures, I mean, he was nice looking. He really was. He was tall, like about 6'5", you know, the way I like them. Giants, okay, I love them giants. Well, he was about 6'5", slim, but there was some red flags. Now, I notice a lot of guys online like to come up with the same scenario. You know, they helping out their mothers. They only there because they need to help their mama out. No. Any man that you meet and he don't have his own place, and his excuse is
he's helping out his mama,
run. Okay? Block, 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 because he's not worth your time. I like a man that has his own place. The next red flag was he lived in the Bronx. Now, me myself, I don't like the Bronx, and I'm sorry to offend any of you that live in the Bronx, but I'm a Queens girl, and I'm not fond of the Bronx. Okay, the boogie down Bronx has a lot of issues.
Lots of issues.
Now, I'm not saying all parts of Bronx is bad. Just saying
a lot of the Bronx is bad.
Okay. Well, he just happened to live in that part of the Bronx. But I didn't know that until it was time to meet up. When you meet guys from the Bronx, they don't have vehicles. I found that to be very popular, especially men of certain ages. They don't have vehicles. And one thing with New York is when you live in certain areas, you really don't need a vehicle, because you either live in a building, there is no parking, you have to pay an arm and a leg. If you do have a car, you have to switch sides, alternate side of the street parking if you have a car. So 9 times out of 10, if you can't afford a parking spot, you're paying a lot in tickets and fines, because you may be lazy at times and don't want to get up to move your car from one end to the next, and 9 times out of 10 you can't find a parking spot. So I kind of try to give an understanding when it comes to those situations. But I like a man that has his own vehicle, because if you're the only one driving, that means 9 times out of 10 you're going to be the only one driving, and I'm not nobody's chauffeur. All right, he didn't have a vehicle. He didn't have a car. So that was like a pet peeve. But it was time to meet up with him. So I'm thinking, okay, well, you got a vehicle. That's not exactly a deal breaker, although it is a deal breaker, but it ain't really a deal breaker. The plans were pretty much a meet up. which meant that, you know, we were probably going to hang out for a little bit, get a little time to sit and talk, you know, nothing too grandioso, but maybe even to the point of maybe going casually for a stroll in a nice park and just talk and get to know each other. I come from a time and when you met up with somebody, you put your best on. Now, I'm not saying you put on a Sunday best or anything like that, but you look presentable. So your girl was looking like a snack. I put on my little sexy fitted jumpsuit. I was looking bomb. I was looking boss. I was looking good. So I'm all dollied up, looking good. Now, I didn't expect a whole lot from the meetup because we're just meeting up, but I was dressed just in case it was something that turned into a really like situation, that possibility if you wanted to get something to eat. I was dressed ready to go. All right, I was dressed in case of. So my options was open. Of course, now I'm driving to his place. I wasn't going in his place. I was just driving to pick him up. Wasn't trying to go anywhere near his place. Plus, he lived at his mother's house. But anywho, I felt it was harmless. So anyways, now I'm driving all the way to the Bronx. Paid me a toll, okay? Both ways. Gas and time, makeup, and looking good. Looking good. So I pull up in front of his house. And I call him and let him know I'm outside. I'm out front. Now this is when things got really, really, really bad. Really bad. You know, he was like, oh, okay, I don't see you. And I guess he was right there in the front. So he's looking out his window to see if he sees me. And I said, well, I'm parked up in, you know, white truck, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, now, he's like, okay, well, I'll be right down. So I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. You know, waiting and waiting. Then finally, this tall, skinny, and when I said skinny, I meant crackhead skinny dude came out the building. Now, like I said, I come from a time and place where when you're trying to meet with somebody for the first time, you want to look your best. You want to look put together, especially when you come from an era where people put themselves together. Well, I guess he didn't come from that age and era because he walked out the house like he was dressed for the house. Like he should have stayed his butt in the house. Like he didn't put no care at all in how he looked. But it got worse. So as he's approaching the car, I got a closer look at his attire, his clothes. Now this guy had on some basketball shorts that had holes in it. He had on a worn out, and I mean worn out, washed out, overlived in t-shirt that looked like the moths had a fight in it. And the colors was just completely off because what he had on did not match. It did not match. It did not match. You could see homie was not thinking about meeting up because he was dressed to stay his butt in the house. Now, not only was he not dressed appropriately, but he also had this do-rag on his head. Do-rag. Now, he didn't even look like the guy that I saw in the pictures. He didn't look anything like it. He looked bony.
MAGA.
Stickly. Crackly. He looked like a skeleton. And the worst thing is he's 6'5", so that's even worse. He was bony. So not only is he not looking right, but he came out looking raggedy. Now, I was trying to be very graceful, not trying to judge, but I came out the car and we greeted each other. And I got back in the car. I opened the door for him to come and sit in the car so we could talk. I'm looking at this dude and I'm kicking myself in the behind the whole entire time I'm sitting there looking at him. Because he started acting real weird. He mentioned that he had a back injury and he had a nerve issue. But I didn't know how much of a nerve issue it was until he sat down. Because the time that he sat down in the car, he was shaking. Now, I wasn't shaking because he was nervous. And I don't know how severe the nerve issue was until I saw him. But homie looked like he was going through withdrawal symptoms. He's just... shaking. So when I saw that, I was like,
nervous.
Like, what the heck do you have sitting in your car? So he's shaking now. He's shaking. He's just shaking. Just shaking. So I'm like,
are you okay?
So he's like,
Yeah, why?
So I'm like, because you're shaking. So all of a sudden he was like, I ain't shaking no more, right? See, I ain't nervous. like he was trying to hold himself from shaking. Now, when he did that and his eyes bulged out because he was really trying to hold himself down, see, I ain't shaking no more. I'm like,
How rotten all is this you have sitting up inside your car, girl?
I was kicking myself in the butt because I'm like, this is not you at all. Not you, not you, not you. We had small talk because at this point I'm trying to figure out how to get the heck up out of here. How to get this dude out my car, and it's time for me to go. So he asked,
Do you want to go to the park for a walk?
I was like,
No, that's okay. We can sit right here. That's all right. No, that's okay. I'm good. I'm good.
because there was no way in the world I was trying to be seen with this guy. Okay? Ha! No way in the world. Especially being a content creator for YouTube, I didn't know who I was going to bump into. I didn't know if I was going to bump into any of you loyalty squads. I didn't know if I was going to bump into any of you subbies. I was not trying to be seen out in public with this crackhead looking dude. Looking like he's having a severe case of withdrawal. Okay? There was no way. Ha! No way. I was like, no, we can sit right here. That's okay. We can sit right here. We can talk a little bit right here. It got worse than that because while we're sitting there talking, you could see he was so uncomfortable. Like he had things on his mind. He was like,
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask a favor?
Like what?
he was like,
Can I borrow $20?
I was appalled. I couldn't believe that this dude had the audacity to ask me for $20 on the first time we're meeting up with each other. Now, not only did he look like he was on something and having withdrawal symptoms, but homie had the audacity to ask me for $20.
Oh my God.
This was one for the books, because I've never, ever met anybody, and on the first time meeting them, they're gonna ask me for $20. So now I'm thinking to myself, girl, now you don't know what kind of crazy this guy could be. You meeting him for the first time. You're seeing he's shaking like crazy. You're seeing he's shaking uncontrollably. And you don't know if he might flip out because you telling him, no, you don't have it, but I had it. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, give him the $20. Just give him the $20. Just give him the $20.
So I said, yeah, I got $20.
He was like,
Yeah, all right. I'll borrow the $20 from you and I'll give it back.
I was like, nah, that's okay. I'll give you the $20 because I wasn't planning on seeing him again. So I reached in and gave him the $20. You should have saw how fast he cut the conversation after that. He cut that conversation real quick and had the audacity. He was like, oh, thank you so much. So you know what? I know you're probably in a rush. You probably got someplace to go because you really looking nice. You dressed really nice. So I'm not going to hold you, but if anything, just call me, let me know you got home safe, and we'll talk again soon. All right? We'll talk again later. So I was like, okay, no problem. All right. Nice to meet you. All right. And we'll talk again soon, and blah, blah, blah. So he got out the car. He waved, I waved, and I took off down the street. I couldn't skirt off fast enough. His location looked like it was in Crackhead Central. I'm talking about people and junkies strung out in the neighborhood. He just reminded me of things that I saw coming up to his house, and I'm like, oh, what the freak? What the freak? But I skirt out of there so fast, and I'm driving all the way back home to Queens. And the whole time I'm driving back home, you talk about beating your own ass. I was whooping my own tail. I was cursing my own self out. I was telling my own self off. I was pissed to the highest level of pistivity. I could not believe what I just had to deal with. I couldn't believe it. So finally when I got home, I'm telling you, it was a waste of time, a waste of makeup, a waste of effort and energy, just a waste. And he was a waste of a man. Ew, it was a waste. I just had one question to ask him. I'm safe at home, so I figured, okay, what you got to lose? Ask him the question. So when I finally called, I said, by the way, Glenn, let me ask you something. Why was you shaking like that? I thought you was on drugs. Why did you need the $20? He claims that he needed the $20 to go and buy some weed. He took my money to go and buy weed. because he needs it for the pain. So I'm like, wow, so you borrowed my money to go buy yourself some damn weed. I tell you guys, that was the most disappointing meetup ever. I'm glad and grateful that he wasn't a lunatic or anything like that. Because, I mean, I pretty much felt him out and we had wonderful conversation. But not saying he can't flip out. He don't have schizophrenia. He ain't bipolar or anything like that. But thank goodness he was a gentle type of person. But he had a lot of issues. I tell you, after that, I just blocked him. Didn't even think again to try to contact this guy. And just grateful that I got home safe. Because honestly, I guess I had my hopes up a little too high, thinking that, you know, yes, tall, you know, he must have been showing the younger pictures. Because like I said, when I saw him up close, Right, but that's how it is. There's a lot of different spirits on them sites. Oh my gosh. He pretty much turned me off because I couldn't believe what I bumped into. So you guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful, crazy story time video. And I got more comments. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe down below. And I got another banger coming your way. So until the next time, you guys, I will see you then. Welcome, YouTube family. This is the Velvet Locks introducing to you my new channel. And this channel is called Velvet Vlogs. On this channel, you will see hair videos, skincare videos, as well as family vlogs, okay? So check it out. Go down below, click those links, and subscribe as well as turn on your notification bell. And I will see you there.